All right, let's get started. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We're going to be looking at a really great platform for virtual reality. We partnered with our guest here, Martin. So I will get to that shortly, but thank you so much for joining. Some of our partners in Robot Lab, I'm just going to go through these slides quickly, and then some award-winning programs primarily for virtual reality and other amazing things that we've done in the past. My name is Amy. I'm the account manager for the K through 12 sales team. I've been with Robot Lab for over 4 years now, especially in K-12 schools in the US and globally. So in addition to launching our virtual reality platforms, we've also implemented several labs in the US and other STEM cart projects throughout the US and around the world as well. A little bit about Robot Lab. We're founded in 2011. Our headquarters are in Texas, as well as several other locations. We've recently also launched our franchising locations, which means that we will be present in multiple states around the US. We also have a Latin America office in Colombia, so we are worldwide. We do everything from the sales to the implementation, account management, curriculum support, content creation and deployment of the robots, after sales support, and then training as well. We're here for you with all of your robotic needs. What do we offer for education? We expanded our virtual reality offerings, which you will see soon in this webinar, as well as innovation labs. So there are many different kinds of STEM labs, AI labs, fabrication labs, esports, full rooms of immersive reality, you name it, we have a solution for you. In addition to that, we have a great catalog full of robotic solutions for STEM and programming for schools, in addition also to special education robots and solutions. So we want to be able to be there to help you in whatever sort of classroom you have. Also, please visit us if you are in town in San Antonio for ACTE this year, which is December 4th through 7th. We will be at booth 571, so please come and say hello. I wanted to give a great welcome to our guest, Martin Bukacek. He is been with Corinth and LifeLiqe for over 10 years. I'm going to pass it over to him. But he's been a great partner so far in offering a solution for virtual reality, which just expands within the classroom with 3D models and virtual models of animals, water cycles, plant life, etc. So Martin, go ahead. I'm going to pass it over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emmy. I believe you can hear me well.
Yes.
That's great. So let me share my screen and adjust the controls right here. Please let me know if you see my screen. I believe you can. Okay, so let me start. Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here with you. I'm happy to be partnering with Robot Lab, and I'm super excited to be able to share our learning content and our vision to make learning science exciting with you today. So my name is Martin. Again, I'm currently based in Vienna, Austria, in Central Europe. It's already an evening here, and I'm just doing this webinar from my home. So hopefully no kids will appear in this webinar. And if they do, I guess you know it all, right? So Corinth is a learning brand powered by a company LifeLiqe. We are based in the United States and the Czech Republic. And our vision is to make learning science exciting, engaging, and more effective with power of 3D content and interactivity of virtual reality. This is me and my other colleagues in the company some 30 years ago, let's say, when we still used to go to school, and we basically really all we could not stand subjects like chemistry or physics. We could not really grasp the curriculum, and we really struggled with our imagination of the difficult scientific subjects and topics. And our mission today is basically create and build learning tools that we wish to have when we were still going to the classroom. So how do we do it? Let me share with you. So what do we have? We've got the largest scientifically verified 3D content library for learning that engages every student out there with content such as 3D models, virtual zoom images, 360-degree field trips, animations, and so on and so on. And as I speak, you can take your mobile phones, and if you know how to scan a QR code, I believe you know, just activating your camera and point it at the QR code, and you can try the 3D content here by yourself. So feel free to do it. And this is the way how we enable you teachers engage your students basically in 1 or 2 seconds right in your classroom. So feel free to open the QR code, and I'll continue my demo. So what's important for us that our 3D content has been scientifically verified by some of the top worldwide universities. We offer everything from 3D content to lesson plans aligned to next generation science standards and Common Core, and we allow teachers to create their own powerful lessons and resources with 3D. Let me give you the first idea what the content looks like. So one of our visions is to embed the content in the tools that you already have in the classroom. You don't really have to completely transform the way you teach. You can easily embed the 3D content in your resources. So as I click on the model, I open the 3D model in our app, and I can rotate the 3D model. I can zoom in. I can tap on different details to explore them further. I can run quizzes, have my students read more about the content, and I can share the content easily with them with the QR code like I showed you right now. This is just the first idea of the content, so I'll share much more in a couple of minutes how you can use this content in your classroom. But this is just for your first idea what the content looks like. Now, why 3D content? Well, if you've been in touch with Robot Lab, you know that virtual reality content really is an effective way how to engage students in learning. I'm just sharing one of the old researches about efficiency of 3D content that proved that in the classrooms where students use 3D content, they improve their retention. Teachers also saw improved learning outcomes and test scores. They saw increased attention, and also they saw students were able to master the knowledge more and share it with others. So we saw really deeper learning happening in the classroom. Today, we've got many more studies showing that virtual reality and 3D content is an effective way of teaching compared to traditional classroom resources. And I just wanted to share with you one of those studies. Now, I mentioned we've got the vast library of 3D content. So this is just a quick sneak peek of the subjects that we have. We focus on science and STEM, and we offer field trips for careers as well as science subjects, interactive videos, lesson plans, student courses, and all the content is available in augmented as well as virtual reality. So let me take a deep dive to the app to show you what's in there. So let me go back to the app. And this is the homepage. where you can see all the different subject libraries. You can see lessons and different teaching resources, as well as the actual 3D content. Now, I shared with you the 3D model, but there's much more. I mentioned interactive or virtual deep zoom image. So what I can do here is I can have my students zoom in deep in the structure of not just the tree, not just the leaf, but really deep in the leaf structure to get even to bacteria living in the tree. Now, aside from this content, we've got different simulations. We've got animated 3D models that show and demonstrate difficult processes that are really difficult to show and demonstrate for a teacher without an engaging content, with interactive content. Compared to textbooks, this is much more effective and much more engaging for students who are basically using the tools that they're used to use in their everyday life with the video games, messaging apps, and so on, so on. Let me show you also one virtual field trip. As I mentioned, we've got career exploration content for your students to be able to explore which careers they can aspire for learning science in the elementary or secondary school. But we've got also subjects like animal biology, human biology, or plant biology, or geology, displayed by these beautiful 360-degree virtual field trips. I've got also
tardigrades are aquatic microanimals that are also known as water bears or
VR
moss
headset
piglets
here,
due to
so
their
we'll
striking
be able
resemblance to
to
pygmy
show
pandas.
some of the content
They are
right
found
in the
almost
headset.
everywhere,
As I
from the
mentioned,
Arctic
all
to
that
the equator,
content
from
is
intertidal zones
available
to the deep
in
ocean,
virtual reality
and
too.
even in forest
But also,
canopies.
what's really important for us is that you are able to use our content on the most commonly used devices in schools, like, as I showed you, cell phone,
Interestingly,
PC, which
tardigrades
I'm
have a
using right
life
now,
structure and physiology similar
other
to
mobile
that of
devices
higher
like
animals.
tablets, whiteboards,
This segment
other
has a
types of
very
large
short,
screens,
stout,
as well
unjointed
as
legs.
virtual reality headsets.
The first 3 pairs of legs.
So this was just a quick example of field trips. And, as teachers, that you struggle with time to actually build your own lessons. There's so many lessons you have to create for your students to engage them. So of course, we also have that covered. So this is just a couple of lessons of many lessons that we have in Corin. Let me just share one of them. So we typically have basically a file with instruction, giving you an idea like how this content is aligned with the standards, what are the learning goals, and the actual 3D model within that resource. So you saw me using water cycle model as basically just a plain 3D model, but you see me using it also here in the lesson that you can easily share with your students. You can even download it and print it out to be able to edit it, or you can just share with students right away. What's really great is that the content, as I mentioned, is aligned to next generation science standards. So feel free to let me know which of you are based in the United States and where in the world are you. I'm really curious to whom am I actually presenting today. So let me know where are you based, folks. But if you are in the United States, next generation science standards and common core standards may be really relevant for you. So we've got more than 1,000 lessons with 3D content. We've got teacher curricula as well as student courses, and we even have some professional development for next generation science standards as a part of this web app license. Now, if I open one of those basically digital textbooks titles, I can choose Earth and Space Sciences. I can choose any of the units here, and I can choose volcanic eruptions here. And again, you see that the 3D content is part of the lesson for the teacher to easily engage the class and easily distribute the content to their students, to your students, while having all the instruction, all the activities on your fingertip. So again, if I tap on the 3D model, it activates. And if I want to go to detail, I can click to this button down below and use the actual 3D content here. Now, let me switch off my video, my camera here, in order to be able to display the augmented reality feature, which is something that gives your students power to demonstrate what they learned themselves. So this is me in my room, and I've got this beautiful 3D model of volcanic activity here that I can take a screenshot of, but I can also record a video of me demonstrating what I learned about the content. So this is a stratovolcano. This is how it works. These volcanoes are not active anymore, and this is why. So once your students learn the content, they can demonstrate what they learn by actually recording a video with technology that they love using in their everyday life. This is what I mentioned when I spoke about, you know, the everyday use of technology of your students and the messaging apps, you know, use of emoji, which is also a type of augmented reality. Now you can see I can either delete or download the video and share it with my teacher through a virtual classroom. So when I speak about the content and when I speak about creating the content by students, it's also important that students, basically that you teachers have means of classroom management. So you can either share the content with your students through virtual classroom like Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams, or soon we will be launching our own classroom and learning management system in this app that will allow you to easily manage all your curriculum in our app, from 3D content to lessons to other different media. You can always have your students learn more about the content. You can always have them capture different snapshots for their report that they can share with you, either as a presentation or another assignment. And you can always upload those images on cloud and, you know, have them on disposal later on. What may be also relevant wherever in the world you are is that current app has more than 23 worldwide languages, including English, Spanish, French, Chinese, Japanese, you name it. And based on the custom requests, we keep adding more and more. What's actually fun is that you can switch on the bilingual option. So let's say English learners or like students whose primary language is not English can display those models bilingually to learn that vocabulary in an easy way and in a visual way. So that was a quick showcase of, number one, our 3D content, of the lessons that we have, of the different features you can use, like sharing the content easily with your classroom, with the QR code, or with the classroom management system, or with the virtual classroom systems like Teams or Google Classroom, and also the curriculum aligned to next generation science standards and Common Core. Of course, you can always create your playlists your favorite models, and you can get back to them anytime later on. Now, I mentioned that the content is available also on virtual reality headsets. I've got one here, and I'm ready to demonstrate how you can do that. And before I do so, please let me know which one of you is already using virtual reality in the classroom today. I'm wondering what devices you use, how you use virtual reality. Happy to, learn more, read more about your experience. I will go through your messages in the chat later on, and just a quick summary, you can chat right here in the chat. So I'm really curious what I will learn from you, how you're using virtual reality. Now, let me try the VR myself. So what I will do, so number one, what I have here with me is Meta Quest actually 2, which, is not the newest VR headset from Meta, but it's still one of the most popular. I want to say that we support all commonly used virtual reality headsets used at schools. So feel free to ask questions if you want to check in about the availability for your type of hardware that you have in schools. And I will just share with you how I can use this. So let me just screen share. So what I'll do is that I just tell this headset to start screening on, okay, this is how I do it. So what I'll do is that I just switch on screen sharing. Let me just reload this page. So what I'm doing is that I'm on one Wi-Fi with this headset and with my PC on one Wi-Fi, and I'm connected with one Oculus Quest account. And you can already see my screen in virtual reality. Hopefully you can see it. If you could not see it, let me know. And what I can see here is a human heart with the blood flow basically really available on my fingertips. So I can look inside the human heart. This is a very basic model, but really demonstrates, especially to elementary school teachers, how the blood flow works. I can, of course, switch to other models. So let me basically open my web app. And you see, I'm still using the same web app like I was using on PC. It will run basically on any device, including mobile, including virtual reality headset. And I can choose the field trip that I spoke about before. Now, before I share with you the experiences for science, and what I will do now is that I will share with you I actually run over. What I will do is I will share with you the carrier exploration field trips. What they do is that they take your students to workplaces, mostly in the industry 4.0, to demonstrate the potential careers they can take in STEM and science. So let me choose environmental engineers. The field trip is loading. You will not see the narration. You will not hear the narration. I hear the audio of the field trip. So this gentleman is actually guiding me through the workplace, through a smart farm. And he will take me around the workplace in virtual reality. So I'm just switching to immersive mode. Oh, here we go. I can even adjust the quality of the image based on my bandwidth. This gentleman is now giving me a guided tour about what skills do I need to learn to work as, in these facilities, what everyday tools I need to work with, like devices, like different technology, and what are the typical everyday tasks that I need to take. So for your students, this is an easy way how to really visit different workplaces in STEM careers, in the industry 4.0, that basically are and careers that are resilient and sustainable, the careers that will stay here and will not be replaced by robotics. So this was just a quick showcase of our 3D content. I will just make sure that you can see me and you can hear me. Yeah. And I think it's time for me to move ahead and to share with you what are some updates that we're preparing for the upcoming year. So what I shared with you until now was the app called Corinth. It's a web app running on every type of device. And it's an app that we're going to relaunch in the upcoming month. And what it means that we're going to introduce completely new experience with many new features that will really help you excite your students, number one, introduce much more new generation content, number two, and introduce new different ways how you create your own content with 3D models, number three, and number four, how you can manage your classroom so your students stay engaged. You can evaluate their performance and help them basically, or help you personalize your learning experiences in your classroom for your students. So let me do a quick tour around the new features that we're gonna introduce in 1 to 2 upcoming months. So number one, you saw some interactive 3D content. Now, what we're gonna do is that we'll enable you to basically expand that content and dissect the content like you really have a laser, and you could really scan through the content yourself in a way like basically like you were in a lab. So this is an example of an interactive quiz that we're preparing, and part of that quiz experience will be the possibility to dissect such a model into different individual parts, and students will be able to label them or annotate them and actually identify different parts in a quiz experience. So that's first, the first type of content that we're going to introduce. It's a new generation content, and we've been working on it already for some time. Okay. Second, I already mentioned that today you can embed the 3D content in your own resources. We use PowerPoint, we use Word, we use OneNote, and you can basically embed the 3D content in them. So when you click on the model, like I did in the beginning of the presentation, it opens in our app. Now, what you'll be able to do with this new updated app, you'll be able to embed the 3D content directly in your lessons, like in your PDF. So what you can do is you upload your PDF resource and you put and basically drag and drop the 3D model in your own resource. So you don't need to even leave that lesson plan with the 3D. So you basically saw me using the next generation science standards curriculum. Currently you will have, sorry, it's quite a quick video, so let me just pause things here so you can, sorry, yeah, you will have a chance to create quizzes inside of basically your own like PDF files that you've been working on and adjusting for years and years for new students and new classes. And you can see that you will be able to embed the 3D content in your own existing resources. And you can easily share them with students to have them work on their assignments or really complete the quizzes. So that's another update that we are introducing very soon within the current experience. And the other thing to share is that, as I mentioned, the content runs on all virtual reality devices. And we want to make sure that you teachers feel safe and confident using the virtual reality headsets. Sometimes we hear from you, how do I make sure that students are working on an assignment that I assigned to them? How do I make sure that they're on track? Sometimes I still see teachers struggling with using VR in the classroom. It's a new technology. We see more and more schools and classrooms adopting VR, but like with every new technology, there are still improvements to be done on the content. Now, we are introducing basically the native apps that will be available on all popular VR devices. So you can find our app on the Meta Store, Pico Store, and of course, you'll be able to get it also from us and Robot Lab. But what's important is that it will not be running only as a web browser experience. So we will not be using only the web app, from browser, but you'll be able to really install the app in your devices, which is not happening now. And what it will enable you is much more smooth classroom experience. You will be able to manage your students, see what they're working on, basically control the session, and you'll be able to not just see what they're doing on, but you can pass the mic, you can pass the presentation to your student. So you pick a student on headset number 8, and you'll ask them to demonstrate basically how water cycle works. And so they will be able to demonstrate that in VR. This is something we're working on. I don't have the demo available here, but in next 2 months, I'll be definitely able, with help of Robot Lab, we'll be happy to share these updates with you through a newsletter or perhaps later on with another upcoming webinar. So really, the student devices management is an essential thing for us to introduce for the app, so you feel confident and again safe in using the virtual reality with your students while really remaining effective and engaging your students in learning. Accessibility and making sure that all students' needs are covered. That's also part of our vision. So our content will be aligned to the accessibility standards that you may be, expecting. So really making sure that you can reach every student in the classroom so they really use the full potential of our app. That's a very important thing for us. Now, okay, I'm really wondering if you use generative AI tools in the classroom, and if you do, please let me know how you're using them. What we are preparing to is a couple of AI features that assist you with content generation, like lesson plans, presentations, instructions, summaries, and reports around those 3D models, but also that enable you or help you with student assessment. So they will be tracking how students are doing and suggest how you should evaluate their work and help you basically focus on students, weak points and suggest where they could work further and learn more. So it will really assist you in personalization of the learning experience in your classroom, as well as really building new content with different image generators and tools that you may already have some experience with. So there's also things that we're working on. This will not be available in the app in the next 2 months. We will take some time. So all those other features that I presented, including accessibility, including the native VR app for all operating systems, as well as the VR device management tool, the 3D resources tool, as well as the new generation of the content that we're building on, that will be present in the app in a couple of months. The AI will still take some time, so please, keep in touch, and we'll be able to update you about how we're doing, because we really want to make sure that you use the full potential of the 3D content in the classroom. All right, I think I'm ready to conclude. So we've got enough time for your questions. So a quick conclusion here to wrap up. Number one, what I mentioned in the beginning of this webinar, Corinth is a massive library of 3D content that supports you in science instruction and then makes it more effective for students to learn science with 1,600 interactive models, field trips, virtual deep zoom images, animations, simulations, as well as more than 1,000 lessons aligned to next generation science standards and Common Core. Number one. Number two, all the content has been scientifically verified, so you teachers can make sure it's all correct and you don't find any mistakes there. Especially today, when there's tons of content out there that sometimes needs to be verified. Also, when you use AI, also that content needs to be verified. The scientific accuracy is really one of our priorities. It's super easy for you to share the 3D model with your students. You saw me basically just clicking on the QR code and sharing the QR code with students to scan it with their mobile headset, mobile devices or headsets, and open it right away. But also, you can share the content to virtual classrooms or through resources that you assign or assignments that you assign to your students. So it's not just about the content that you have in the Corinth app, but also about the content that you can create. As I mentioned, the content is available not just in augmented reality. You saw me interacting with the 3D model, recording a video, explaining what I learned, what are my key learnings from learning about the volcanic activity in AR, as well as with virtual reality. You saw me using this Meta Quest 2 headset, and it's available on Pico Interactive, Meta Quest, as well as other most commonly used virtual reality devices that are there in the classrooms. Embedding the content or allowing you to embed the content in your own teaching resources that you have now is super important for us too. So you really don't need to completely replace the way you learn, but really rather combine the power of 3D and VR and the resources that you've been working with for years in more than 23 languages, and adding more basically every now and then. So let us know if you miss any language and we can edit very easily. I guess that's it from me. Now, I'll be happy to pass the mic for you. So time for any questions. And I'll be also happy to go through the chat and see what you shared with me, where you are based, and how you're using the virtual reality in your classrooms. So
Thank you so much, Martin. We have our moderators here, Abby and marketing team from Robot Lab, that's going to help facilitate questions. But thank you so much, Martin, for your time. We're really excited for this new engaging way to look at 3D models and science I like also the knowledge check that you can have students do. I think that's really important to help them understand what they're learning as well. So I'm going to pass it along to marketing team. They're going to filter these questions for us, and we could just kind of in tandem help answer them together.
All right, thank you. Angela from New York State has a question about web app licenses. For instance, if a teacher has 140 students across the day, how would that work?
So we offer site licenses. So every school has licenses for teachers as well as students. So the student licenses enable you to track your students' progress and you really track how they're doing. And much more interactivity that is coming with this new app. So licenses for you, other teachers, as well as licenses or accounts for your students are covered within one site licensing or within one site license. And for any details, please reach out to Amy. She'll be able to share with you, the licensing options, the pricing. I'm sure Amy will be happy to cover that. But really, again, site license and subscription is how we work. And if you preferred one-off purchase and basically buy the app for unlimited amount of time, we also offer that possibility. So again, to summarize it, we offer site license, school license, or a district license, and that covers students as well as teachers' accounts. And you can either subscribe it to 1 to 5 years, or you can buy the app as one-off purchase, basically to keep it for the unlimited period of time. I hope I responded to your question.
No, that's great. Thank you so much. And I also added my email address in the chat, just in case you guys have any pricing questions or details. If we don't get to your questions, feel free to reach out. If I can't answer it myself, I will reach out to Martin and we'll be able to answer that for you. Thank you so much.
Okay, next question from Randy. Does the software have specific places like Volcano Arenal in Costa Rica with actual land layout from somewhere that is truly mapped out?
So yeah, for some of the 3D content, we use basically the actual scanning of the areas. So some of the content is really kind of like stereographic or stereoscopic, so to say, while some of the content is basically created by our designers, 3D content designers in the studio for the full detail. So I hope I covered that question, but feel free to specify your question.
Yeah, and I think if you're looking for a specific landmark, like you mentioned, a specific volcano, you can reach out to us, but it sounds like the content may be able to be added in depending on that personalized content. However, yeah, just like Martin mentioned, I believe that the 3D models are just based on a volcano itself, not a specific volcano.
It's not a specific volcano. We don't have, but I know Robot Lab has that content, that the actual sites and actual places worldwide. So perhaps that would be the other Robot Lab offering. I think the virtual expeditions 2.0 would be perhaps the answer to your question.
Great. We have a question from Željko from Croatia. I use the Class VR system and their glasses. Can your content be used on their system and VR glasses?
So we support all different types of devices, and the content can be also used on Class VR. Feel free to drop us a question so we can add specifics. There are some announcements to be made that I cannot really share right now. But yeah, happy to respond over email about the specs.
Okay,
But
Damien is
yes.
sorry about that. Damien is asking, do you provide training and integration services for LMS systems and or custom content services?
So every customer we have gets the training. So we do typically school trainings, either in person but mostly online. And we really go through all the features of the app. When it comes to LMS integrations, yes, the content can be integrated with most common learning management systems. We've got the LTI integration, so that can be done too. And we, of course, do have a lot of requests about building the custom content. We address all these requests individually. So I could not really guarantee we can create the content for you. But if it's something that really addresses some, more general needs of our customers, we're more than happy to listen to your needs and create the 3D content. So we add new content to the app. So part of the subscription is that you get new content coming, and so sometimes you can be nicely surprised what content you find in the app with the next app upgrade.
Okay, Dorcas from the Bahamas is asking if the purchase of app for libraries outside the USA.
Absolutely, and we do work with libraries. If I understand, if you work in a library, whether school library or public libraries, we actually work with a lot of libraries in the United States, as well as in other parts of the world. But generally, yes, we're a global company, and we, as you saw, we've got the app translated to many languages. So we do global sales, and as well as I know that Robot Lab can reach, and then you guys have customers all around the world. But I'll let Tammy take that, just probably to confirm what I just said.
Yes, we absolutely service everyone. No matter where you are in the world, we have a solution for you, and especially for virtual reality. That is something that we want to make accessible to everyone. So everyone's included in on this offering, no matter where you are.
All right, we have another question from Damien, and this might be for Amy. How is this technology sold or licensed to a school? Campus-wide, each program area module, etc.?
So we can talk about any pricing or personalized offerings offline if you'd like to email me, but it is a subscription-based structure or perpetual licensing, just depending on what your use case is, how many schools you're servicing, if you're a district, etc. So we really want to make sure we personalize those questions offline, if you don't mind. So amy.george@robotlab.com, and Martin and I can help answer that for you. Thank you so much.
Another question from Croatia. Do you also do other content for the education of students in vocational schools? For example, VR education on how to connect optical fibers?
That's a great question. Thanks for that one. So both us in LifeLiqe and Corinth and Robot Lab, we see a lot of requests for quality vocational training content and CTE content, and we indeed have virtual courses virtual training programs for VR for selected occupations. And we are adding like 15 more in the upcoming year. So we'll be able to go through a virtual course using VR headset with 3D models, field trips, lesson plans, and quizzes to basically get the vocational training. Depends on the different occupations. So I would have to specifically check what kind of occupation is related to connect optical fibers. But I believe that we can have that covered next year. So feel free to drop me an email or drop Amy an email, and I'm sure she can connect us, and we can discuss closer your needs. So yes, I shared the K-12, elementary and secondary school content for the traditional school system, or the obligatory school system. Now the vocational training is part of some of the other programs that we run, and we've got much more content there than I show today. So happy to share that with you. And if you had really any specific requests or questions, feel free to reach out to Amy, and she'll be happy to connect us.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We appreciate any questions. If we did not get to one, or you think about it later, feel free to reach out via email. And again, I can connect you with Martin. We're happy to facilitate live demos. If you need something specific, just let us know. We're happy to help you. But thank you so much, Martin, for joining. I really appreciate your time and your expertise. I think the platform is amazing, and just the best way to make VR and 3D models really enhance what you're learning inside the classroom. So appreciate all of your time and all of your hard work that you all are doing. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Thank you.